That's funny. Okay. All right. Welcome to the latest episode of Long Island Nightlight LINL Radio interviews. This is my second interview of the week, and I'm thrilled to be wrapping up the summer here with Steve from the Word66 out in Las Vegas. So I'm just going to kind of turn over the mic to Steve for a little while. He could tell us about the Word66, what the band has been up to. I know they have a new release coming. They have a single that's playing on LINL Radio. So welcome, Steve. And like I said, I turn it over to you. Tell us whatever you like about the Word66.
Appreciate that, Lewis. Thanks for having me on, my friend. So we started this band probably in about 2018, and for me, it was a calling. I've always been in hard rock metal bands, and I felt there was something that happened in my life, a little incident that kind of made me believe for sure that this was God's purpose for me. There's a lot of people out there that don't know that everybody has a purpose in life. God has a purpose for you. When he created you, he had a purpose in mind for you. So his purpose for me was to glorify his name through our music, which is an honor. So around that time, around 2018, I started writing some music. I had the inspiration to write a whole bunch of all kinds of Christian songs, and that was when we put out a couple years later, around the COVID time, we put out our first record, which was called "On the Way to the Promised Land," which is actually about the Book of Exodus. And
that's really interesting because that's where I am in my reading right now. So
really,
yeah, I just finished, Pharaoh being stubborn and, finally he finally let the people go. That's exactly where I am in my reading. So I just think that's interesting that that's what you were writing about.
perfect, man. If you're not familiar with the track, man, definitely run it. You'll be able to relate to a lot of stuff that's in
Absolutely.
that song.
Yeah, because it's fresh in my mind right now. So
Yeah, and actually, that's my favorite song to date at this time from us. That's a song that started it all, and that's the song I just love that track, man. I just think it's a really cool rocking track.
awesome.
Um, so anyway, so we went to the studio, recorded the On the Way to the Promised Land, and it took off, man, really quick. Which was another thing that kind of validated, our purpose to know why we were supposed to do this kind of music. And the beautiful thing about it too is that we were accepted in the Christian and the non-Christian world. Because we got a ton of radio play. I would say more radio play in the non-Christian world and the indie world than we did actually on the Christian stations, um,
I have
which I find true today.
Yeah, I have a little something to add to that if you don't mind.
Sure.
Christian music is awesome for Christians, but don't we want non-Christians to hear it? You know what I mean? Like there are messages that we want to spread and maybe turn people onto. So I think that's definitely behind the motivation of getting it played everywhere.
That saying "preaching to the choir" comes in
Yeah,
there, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah. It needs to get outside that circle. You know.
absolutely,
So
and I find it a blessing, Lewis, when we get played on all these really hardcore,
yeah,
stations that that people really need to hear the message in those places. And I'm
yeah.
not saying that in a way that that's for anyone who's listening that's it's not into the Christian music. It's just something that we discussed, a little bit earlier. Is that if you are into like the hard rock and you don't know anything about the Christian hard rock genre, you're kind of doing yourself an injustice
Yes.
because it's not only about the message, man. I mean, there's just great music there, and there's also music there for the like the really hardcore listeners, the people that are into like death metal and into like the really really hard rock. I mean, there's Christian bands that do it great as well. So don't think you can't find that in the Christian world.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I found that out, running this radio station over the last year and a half, and the music that I've been fortunate enough to have submitted. And yeah, it's taught me. I played in a worship team for a little while, and it was more like the mainstream worship. But running the radio station has illuminated me to exactly what you're saying, that there are all types of genres, you know, and it could get as extreme as rock and heavy metal gets.
Right. And again, if anyone who's listening out there, if you're into some really hardcore stuff, don't think you can't get it in the Christian world, because it's
Yeah.
out there too. You got the hardcore, you got hip hop, you got all kinds of music out there too. The only difference between I say to people, the only difference between us and the non-Christian bands is that we just always have a positive message to convey.
Yes.
We
Absolutely.
rock like all the other bands out there. The only difference is that if you listen to our lyrics, we just have some good things to say, some lessons that need to be learned, and some things that can, make give you a positive outlook.
Nah, that's awesome. I mean, you can feel good about what you're doing, knowing that you're not inspiring someone in the wrong direction, you know. Because I mean, there are plenty of artists that do that, if you ask me, and that's
Yes,
counterproductive to what we're trying to do.
absolutely.
You know, um, S- Steve, are you the member who's originally from Long Island of the band?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit, like where you're from and all that? Or
I grew up in Plainview, actually.
oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I,
Uh,
I was there for probably the first, I don't know, 17, 18 years of my life. I grew up there, grew up in a nice area, and it was a great place to grow up, man. You
yeah,
know?
a buddy of mine lives there. Yeah, so I'm really familiar with it. Oh, that's cool. I hope I didn't take you off course or whatever, but I just was looking
Oh,
at
no,
my
not
notes.
at all.
And like, gotta emphasize the Long Island aspect of the
Of
show.
course. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I remember when I first found out about your station and stuff
yeah,
like that. I was like, oh, Long Island. I said, I
yeah.
got to reach out to this guy.
Oh,
And
cool.
one of the first things I said in my email was, by the way, I'm from Long Island.
Um, if you don't mind me going a little deeper on issues of faith, were you raised in the Christian faith, or was that something that you found later on in life? I'm just curious about that.
Something I found much later on in life. My family was not religious at all. None whatsoever, as far as religion goes. And I think I found religion the way that I think a lot of people do, is when your life is really just so messed up, man, and you just don't know what to do. You don't know where to turn. You've tried everything. And you know what they say, the definition of insanity is, right?
Yeah, keep doing it.
Doing the same things over and over again and expecting something to change. So I hope too, when I do these interviews at times, that there's people that can relate to what I'm saying, and just to let people know out there that there is another option. I mean, it's not, I don't know what people think, like, you go like, oh, I'm going to start listening to Christian music, and I'm going to start becoming a Christian. I'm going to shave my head. I'm going to start singing Hare Krishna songs, or,
Yeah. No, and I mean, I can remember having the misconception about following the Lord, and maybe, oh, I'm going to lose who I am, but I've become more myself since I found
yes,
the Lord. The things
yes.
that weren't me, that attached themselves to me, or that I attached to myself, have fallen away since that day. You know, so yeah, so I understand what you're saying. And one of the things I wanted to get at when I was asking you that question is, I find that now I don't write Christian music per se, but I do broach some of the ideas that may lead to that. And I find that being somebody who found the Lord later in life helps me to retain the perspective of someone who was lost. And I think that that informs my writing. And I'm wondering if you guys, experience that at all, that you remember what it's like to be lost, that you didn't grow up in the Christian faith, and like kind of what buttons to push with people with your music. I'm just wondering if what you think about that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely remember. I mean, it's not like you become a Christian and then your life becomes fantastic, you
No,
know?
no, it becomes harder in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah. So that's something I want to relay to people out there as well,
Yeah.
man. It's just like, it's not a magic pill.
No,
It's not something, it's not like you're going to go to church this next coming Sunday and you're going to be like, "Woo, woo, my life is completely
yeah,
changed,
no.
man. What have I been doing all this time?" It's a progression. It takes
Yeah,
time, man.
first step in
And,
coming to get to know the Lord.
yes, you gotta, and you'll learn to believe, and you'll be reading some scripture, and um, I think that it's something that was really cool with me, is that I go to a non-denominational church,
Cool.
so I call that the cool church, Lewis.
Yeah.
So that's the church that, and again, for people who aren't familiar, there's the non-denominational church where you come as you are.
Yes.
So like it's summertime, man. If you want to come in shorts and flip-flops and a baseball cap, you are 100% welcome there. And there's going to be a lot of other people dressed that way as
Sure.
well. It's not like, some of the Catholic churches, and I'm not knocking this, but people dress up in suits and they get all, all dolled up and to go to, and it's not like that. And then there's usually a really good Christian rock band that starts it off, man, and they play some, it's Christian contemporary. So, don't think you're gonna hear some, like our stuff, or you're gonna hear some metal Christian stuff. It's stuff that maybe gravitates more toward all audiences, including the older audiences. Yeah, and they start off and they play some really good Christian rock, and then we have this great pastor that comes out, man, and he always throws some funny stuff in there.
Yep.
To lighten things up a little bit,
And you want to continue to listen.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to teach, man. Instead of someone like totally like preaching at you, they're taking the stance that I'm one of you, man. I'm just like you. I go through the same struggles that you go through every day, and I just want you to know that I understand, and I'm trying to teach you from that perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, it's similar. I've definitely followed a similar road. I mean, it's your interview. I'm not going to go on and on about that, but I understand.
Yeah, man.
And the music is just, such an integral part, because that touches everybody, whether you're a musician or not. It just, like we're here to celebrate the Lord. We're here to praise. So let's sing. Even if we're not the best singers, the Lord won't be offended. At my bad voice if I'm out of tune.
There's so many markers in the Bible that talk about how God loves music. He wants it loud. He wants to hear it. He wants to hear you sing. He wants to hear you praise.
No, awesome. Okay, so I want to know a little bit about the other guys in the group. Maybe you could tell me, who the other members are and what their roles are. I'm guessing that they share a similar perspective and faith. I doubt you join a Christian rock band if if you're not a believer. But maybe you could just tell me about the other guys a little bit.
And everybody, Lewis, has their own level of faith as well. There are people like myself that go to Bible study, and I go to church, and I write music, and to praise the Lord as well. And then there's other people that maybe just go to church on Sundays, or or maybe they'll read the Bible a little bit too. There's this thing I found on YouTube. This channel. Can I mention it?
Yeah, I don't see why not. If I get in trouble, I'll let you know.
There's this I like this this channel on YouTube. It's called Grace Oasis.
Okay.
And you should check it out, man, if you're not familiar. And it's got every morning that's part of my ritual in the morning, and there is always a fantastic message. So and the messages are anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes. So it's a great way to start your day. They talk about, they say before we pray, let's, go and grab some scripture and stuff from the Bible. So they grab some stuff and they kind of break a lot of it down for you as well. And then there's a prayer at the end. And like I said, it's between 10 to 15 minutes in the morning. So it's a great thing. Okay. Cool. So Lance Crane is the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
I've known Lance. Lance is probably my oldest friend. I've known him for so many years. We've been in several bands together, several projects. Cool. He's a great drummer, man. He's done such a great job on the Word66 stuff. I love the way he phrases things and the way he plays, and he's always got some really cool stuff that he's always throwing in. So I love playing with him.
When I debuted your song, I commented on the drumming. I remember.
I do remember that as well. Yeah. Lance is great, man, and he's got such great double bass technique as well. And then there's a new vocalist. His name is Carlos Zima. We found him a little while ago. Our original vocalist, Brian Torres, he was great, man. I mean, he he did the first couple of records with us, and we started having some musical differences and things too, and we thought it was probably best, that we find someone else. So we found out about Carlos, and Carlos is in does a couple other things on the side as well, and we just thought he was a great fit for the band. He's got a lot more of a metal kind of voice. Like I said, Brian was great for the first couple of records, and I thought Brian had kind of he didn't have really a hard metal sound, but he had a sound that was kind of distinctive, I thought. So when you hear his voice, you would probably know what band it is.
Right.
Which was cool. But we also thought that, we'd like to go a little bit heavier. So we got a hold of Carlos, and he loved the music, and he came in and did some did recordings for us. Danny Miranda, who's from Queen and Blue Oyster Cult. He's been in Blue Oyster Cult forever. My producer, he's from Long Island too.
Yeah. No, I know. I was just kind of waiting because I know he's, his name floats around here all the time, but I don't want to go ahead.
That's cool, man. So I've known him from Long Island a bit, and then it just so happens that my producer is a really good friend of his.
Okay.
So we're in the studio. He was checking out the music, and he's like, "Hey, man," he goes, we should get Danny to do the bass lines on here, because he'll give it a lot of extra power and oomph. He said, and what do you think? And I was like, yeah, for sure. So he reached out to him, sent in the music, and he loved the music. And so he did the Rock and Roll Preaching EP, which is the one before this one. And he did this new one, which is 37 Miracles. So he's got such a great feel. He's a great guy. And it was an honor and a pleasure to work with him as well.
Yeah, no, to work with someone who's worked with Brian May and Roger Taylor, like, you have to just excuse me for having my moment over here, because Queen is like one of the first groups that I was ever aware of.
Okay.
So, and I don't know. I don't know if it's a popular opinion, but I don't think anybody beats Brian May on the guitar. That's just me, though. But yeah, no, that's cool. And I was going to ask you about the management and everything. You filled me in on that. You got the 37 Miracles coming out. That's an EP. Do you guys have a release date set for that yet, or
not at the moment? Our management, we're managed by PCM Management, and so what he wants to do is he wants to put out a few singles before we actually release the actual CD. So the first was the title track, 37 Miracles. Then we have Tell Me, out on August 1st. He's going to be a song. It's a power ballad. It's called I'm There. And what I'm really excited about this song is everyone can relate, because it's basically God talking, saying that I know life isn't easy, but I'm there for you. I'll be with you all the way. So it's just a really touching, a really beautiful song.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's through adversity that we meet the Lord. Maybe having some technical issues on my end. Are you able to hear me right now? Okay. All right. I'm starting to have some technical
No, I'm just messing with
difficulties
you, man.
here.
I'm just messing with you.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. But I was cutting out. Thank you. That's pretty funny. I appreciate that. Just give me 1 second there. There's something I have to do here. Where is
no
it?
worries.
Okay. Yeah, I just had to do that. Okay. But
man,
yeah, no, I'm sorry. What's that?
You need to hang on to that when I throw a couple things out there. You need a
Yeah. No, that was pretty cool though. You really convinced me there. But yeah, like I said, I definitely had an appreciation for the rhythm section. When I was listening to the track, I remember saying, I'm like, yeah, that's Danny Miranda on the bass, but I got to ask who the drummer is, man. Yeah, so that's great stuff. And whenever the tracks are coming out, they're always welcome at LINL Radio, of course.
I appreciate that. Yes.
I just want to go through my notes. Yeah, and I mean, anything else upcoming aside from releasing the singles and then the EP? Do you guys have anything else on the agenda? A break even coming up? What's happening with the Word66 in the fall here?
We're hoping to do some short tours coming up, just like for a week or two at a time. I'm too old, man, to be out and disappearing for 6 months at a time, kind of thing. So,
Yeah,
you
no, I
know,
understand. The older I get, the fewer and fewer shows I play
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's so harder and
absolutely.
harder to rebound from them.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, been there, done that kind of thing. It's great in your younger day, but yeah. So we'll probably do a little bit of touring. We'll eventually get back in the studio, record some more tracks. We've got a ton of music that we
Yes,
still need to get out there. So there's no shortage of material for us. It's funny, Lewis, because when you go in the studio, and if you're recording like an EP, let's say, you've only got like 5, 6 tracks or something, so you have to pick and choose which ones you think are the ones that you should record.
sure.
And it's not, and you don't know if you're picking the right ones or not, but you go like, okay, well, let's do these. And then next time we go back in the studio, we'll record these, you know?
Yeah, no, it's you can't get it's hard to get outside yourself and know what the listener is gonna, appreciate. And you try to do that, but
Yeah.
uh
And not only that, man, but I mean, it's not free, you know?
yeah, no, I know. I'm
If you want to get a really professional recording, man, I mean, you could do it at home. And some people have mastered it, man, to
yeah,
where they can record in their bedroom or whatever, and it sounds
yeah,
fantastic. But for the most part, that's not me. So, we
yeah.
go in the studio and we got to pay, and it's, the hours go by and the wallet gets smaller and smaller. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, let's just record, an EP rather than like a full length LP kind of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and you gotta plan your time before you get into the studio just to make it as efficient as possible. If you do it yourself, or you don't really have to worry about that, tracking every penny, because you're at home.
Right.
But, yeah, no, I get it, totally get it, and, I think, and also the type of music that you guys play, I think it lends itself to needing, real quality engineering and stuff like that, so, you know just to really make sure you get all that bottom and all that force. Um, anyway, Steve, it's definitely been a pleasure meeting with you and talking to you. Definitely talking about not just music, but talking about faith and everything. You guys are and I quote this from your website, the gospel spreading Las Vegas uh, band that set off on a journey. Okay. So that's awesome. That's really cool. Folks
I
out
love
there
that
who,
quote. That was
yeah,
such a great quote from this one interview that we got. Set on a
yeah,
on a set on a journey of glory or something like that.
yeah,
And it was like,
yeah, to glory. It would be, you know what? It would be nice if the Lord blessed me with handwriting that I could read. I would have made a great doctor, you know.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
got you.
So the end part of that quote it kind of faded away because it's my crummy handwriting. But folks out there who are viewing this or listening to this interview, definitely check out the Word66. 37 Miracles will be coming soon. Tell Me is out now. And if you are listening to this interview on LINL Radio, just stay tuned because as soon as my voice trails off and as soon as Steve says goodbye, we're going to be here and Tell Me right now. All right. So once again, Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lewis. I really appreciate it. God bless, my friend.
Same to you. And